We have with us today Mr. Vikas Singh, who is representing Sushant Singh Rajput's father in his case against Rhea Chakraborty, which has come to light just 2-3 days back. Mr. Vikas, I would like to start with you by telling us what has your association been with the family? In the past, have you ever fought cases for them, and how much did you know them before this thing happened?
Well, my association with the family is purely a professional relationship, so I don't think what you're asking is relevant for that purpose.
Okay. But tell us the first meeting, sir, when Mr. KK Singh walked into your office, or did he call you, and how did it all roll out? I mean, and when exactly?
Again, these are all things which are, I don't think, anywhere related to the case. So let's cut out all that and straight away come to the point.
Okay. This morning, Mr. Vikas, we read that Rhea Chakraborty has appealed to the Supreme Court, on something like on the lines that witness ने ये बताया है उनको email पे पुलिस को कि he was being forced to give statements against her. A senior IPS officer had called him. Some relatives of Sushant Singh Rajput had called him. Two calls were made, one on July 22, the other on July 27. What have you to say to that?
Well, as far as the mail of Pathania is concerned, it's very surprising that this mail, if it had gone only to the Mumbai police, how did it reach Rhea Chakraborty? Because by now, when this mail is coming in public light, she's already a named accused in a registered FIR. So there is no question of police sharing such a mail with Rhea Chakraborty. If that Pathania himself has sent a copy of the mail to Rhea, then the credibility of Pathania is hugely in doubt. That means this mail has been only set up for the purpose of filing this in court. So I don't give any credibility to a mail of this kind. But otherwise, I'll tell you, I mean, this is not your question, but I must tell you this. This boy was living in this house, and he was the one who discovered the dead body. So when he found the room locked, for 1.5 hours, he did not open the room till the sister came. So how did he know there is something wrong inside? And why did he wait for the sister to come and did not open the room before? And secondly, and more importantly, till probably the 25th of July or so, he was talking to the family and trying to help and trying to show that Rhea Chakraborty has been instrumental in some way or the other in whatever happened to Sushant Singh Rajput. And suddenly he does a volte-face, and now he sends this mail. So I don't know what is happening in this case, and I hope the police get to the bottom of it and find out what role actually he played in this case, and whether he really has some more information which he is hiding from all of us, and including from the police.
So you were saying that he was in touch with the family, providing information on Rhea, against Rhea. Rather.
Yes, he was actually living there in that household with Sushant Singh Rajput.
Yeah.
He was claiming to be a friend of Sushant Singh Rajput. So he was providing information to the family on telephone, and then suddenly he does a volte-face and writes this mail. So it's very dubious. What is his role? What is his connection with Rhea? Why is he now doing this? What has he done earlier in this matter? All that will have to be looked into.
This all information he was providing before Sushant passed away.
No. After he passed away.
After he passed away. Okay. He was in touch with the family. Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. And there is another report which has surfaced, sir, that the Sushant CA is saying that there is not any major transaction which has taken place from Sushant's account into Rhea's account.
This is again, a statistical jargon, so to say. What he's saying is that there was no major transaction. He's right. There was no major transaction. But also he's saying that the account never had 15 crore. That also is right. The account never had 15 crore. But this is again jargon. Why it's jargon? Firstly, he is not the CA for Sushant Singh Rajput anymore. After Sushant Singh has died, he's not the family has not engaged him as a CA. So after the death of a person, you can't represent that person. His estate has to appoint him. So he's not a CA for Sushant Singh Rajput. He was brought in during Sushant Singh's life by Rhea Chakraborty as the CA.
Okay.
And the account had a 17 crore inflow and a 15 crore outflow. So if I were to say on TV and say, oh, that account never had 15 crore, he's right, it never had 15 crore. But the account in that 1 year when Rhea was with Sushant had an inflow of 17 crore and an outflow of about 15 crore. So that is the case made out. So he's not answering that. He's saying, and he's also right, it never went in one 15 crore check was not signed in favor of anybody. These are small amounts which passed on, which came out of the account over a period of time. Now, as far as the family is concerned, especially the father or even the other members of the family, they were never having any interest in the financial affairs of Sushant Singh Rajput, and that is why they didn't even know that the C has been changed, because that was something which was being managed by Sushant Singh. Sushant Singh till 2019 was absolutely normal, so there was no occasion for anybody to think that the family needs to interfere in his affairs. It is only when Rhea came that this mental issue happened to Sushant Singh Rajput. So when the Bombay police was derailing this investigation and not going, just look at it like this: if somebody dies, commits suicide. Now you say I'm doing a 174 inquiry, which is basically to find out the cause for the suicide. Now, if you want to find out the cause for the suicide, you will try and find out from the people around Sushant Singh Rajput who were with him, who were looking after his medication, his food, his bodyguard. People all around him, people who are in the ecosystem, so to say. Now, what has the Mumbai police done? They called Rhea after 16 days of the death. Is that an inquest with regard to the death of Sushant Singh Rajput? They don't ask her why did she leave him on the 8th of June and took away his medical record and also blocked him. It's very important, blocked him. Sushant had come to Delhi for 2 days for something and was staying with his sister. And 20 calls she made over a period of 2 hours. And these 6 days, she doesn't call Sushant Singh because she has blocked him, so there's no question of calling him. So why did the police not ask anybody who was part of the ecosystem, interrogate them, what the police has been doing, the Mumbai police? The Mumbai police has been calling just because Kangana Ranaut says that there is discrimination in Bollywood. They've been calling everybody from Bollywood who are not part of the ecosystem of Sushant Singh Rajput, who are remotely connected. Yes, he may have worked with one director here, one director there, signed one contract here, signed one. But that's not the inquest. That's not the cause of the suicide. The cause of the suicide is something immediate, which has happened around the family or around the CCTV footage of his house where he was living. Why was the CCTV footage not frozen? So I'm told it is not even available now. Who all came to his house in the last 10-15 days? So nothing was done. And that is why the family thought that it is better to file an FIR in Patna, which definitely has jurisdiction. And before filing the FIR, the family tried to find out from his what was his account detail, and this revelation came only during that. So it is not as if the family was following how Sushant was spending his money, and that mention in the complaint is only to show the motive of Rhea of coming into the life of Sushant Singh Rajput.
So here you are trying to, you're building a case of, basically you're trying to build a case of abetment to suicide. That is,
absolutely. No, that's the charge. That's the actual charge which we have put in the FIR.
Mm-hmm. And what are the grounds? Basically, you're saying that all this was pressurizing him, dismantling his mind.
No, so I'll tell you. So abetment of suicide is not a solitary incident. It can't be. Mm-hmm. Abetment of suicide is a combination of factors which happen over a period of time. Mm-hmm. So if you go sequentially, first thing she did, and which is why that is part of the cause of action in Patna. First thing she did was to cut off the father. So the father was denied access to the son, and his calls were never passed through. She used to keep his mobile and not pass on the mobile to the son. Even when he tried to talk through the bodyguard, even that mobile was not allowed to be handed over to Sushant. So that was the first step. Then slowly she declared him medically ill and started taking him to doctors. She also, said that this house is haunted and took him into some other house and took him to some resort, etc. Then she started taking him to psychiatrists and getting him drugged. And I believe he was drugging was done as far as Sushant Singh Rajput is concerned. When one of the sisters came, she fought with her so that she had to leave the house. So the conspiracy in this case, or in this abetment to suicide, happened over a period of time. And the sequence is: first cut off the family, take control over him, declare him medically unfit, start his treatment, and then start using him for your own purposes. And when at some stage we feel it is his intention to go to Kurg and start organic farming, because she was using his money, she was using his credit card, the money which has traveled, you will see her brother's hotel expenses, her father's expenses, everything is being paid by Sushant Singh Rajput. So when he says, I want to do organic farming, she knew now he's of no use to me. And they probably had an altercation on that. And he was very sure. He said, I want to take a break. So then she left him, took away his medical files, and blocked him on the telephone. Now, that is something which really, really worked on his mind. And he kept on trying to call her. And then Disha Salyan died. That was his secretary, yet to join, just appointed by Rhea, but yet to join. And Disha Salyan died. That was splashed in the papers as Sushant Singh Rajput secretary commits suicide. So he thought Rhea will implicate him in that debt also, and in the medical file, because she had gone with an intention to sort of spoil his career. So that really made him very anxious. So one sister came from who was living in Mumbai, came and stayed with him from the 8th to the 12th, and for 4 days tried to counsel Sushant Singh Rajput. Now, a person who's going to commit suicide doesn't show on the face. You can't. So when the sister was there, she thought that she's been able to counsel him. 4th day, that is on the 12th, she had to leave because she had a school-going daughter. So she had to leave and she went away. And the 14th, this incident happened. So you tell me, if these people are not to be at least questioned by the Mumbai police, then what have they been doing? I mean, what kind of inquiry are they doing?
But Rhea has been questioned.
No, on the 30th of June. And that too, one doesn't know. I mean, nothing has come out in the public domain of whether questioning on these aspects have been done or not. Nothing has come. You know how leaks are happening in these kind of questioning. So if there had been any answers, even today when she came on TV today, she could have said, because that's one of the big charge, she could have said something on why she left him. She could have said something of she repented. All the ex-girlfriends, not the immediate one, the earlier ones went all the way to Patna to, pay condolences to the dad. Rhea never went to Patna. So I'm not trying to say that it was because she didn't go, the crime is, established because of that. I'm not saying that. I'm only trying to show that her intention was never for the good of Sushant. Her intention was only her own selfish interest, and she used him till that selfish interest subserved. And when she felt that he's no more of any use, then she just dumped him like this and went away. And which ultimately, if you read on depression, people who are in depression, and if they are left like this suddenly, that has a huge impact on suicidal tendencies are possible if people are left like this. So of course that all will come in trial, and we'll have to prove all that in trial. But this is something which is very, very serious, and she has never answered anybody till date as to why, how can she justify her conduct of leaving a man whom she knows is very seriously ill. I mean, she herself knows he's very seriously ill, and she just left him and went away. Said that she went to her home and blocked him on the mobile.
This sister who left recently was Meetu, just 2 days before. And the earlier sister you said who fought with her once he had come to stay, you're referring to the other sister, Shweta. Am I right?
That's the other sister, yeah. I don't know the name. I'm not sure about the name, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the other sister.
That's the other sister. Okay. But you also mentioned in your one of your things that the family had made a complaint to the Mumbai police that Sushant was being harassed sometime in February. I think February 25, if I'm
So
not
there
wrong.
was yeah, you're right. There was a message to the DCP of Bandra on the 25th of February
Mhm.
by the family saying that Sushant Singh is not in good company and please have a look at him and also ensure that nothing untoward happens to him.
Mhm.
So with that background, with a specific message having gone to the DCP Bandra, and then the death happening, and then the family saying that look into whoever was with him around that time, and then the police looking at everybody else but the people who were around that time, really, disheartened the family, and they realized that Mumbai is not at all interested for whatever reasons. I can't say why they are trying to derail it, but whatever be the reason, whatever be the motive in derailing this investigation, the family felt that this is definitely being derailed, and that is why some steps were necessary to be taken.
Okay, so you are also saying that the entire earlier theory on which the first 40 days, the whole television channel debates, the newspapers, and the police investigation also, as you are saying, was going on the nepotism angle?
Absolutely. So I now just understand this. This is very, very important. I'm glad you asked this question. Nepotism is not a cognizable offense. Now, a police investigation can only start if there is a cognizable offense or an allegation of a cognizable offense. If you are only doing an inquest into the death, then this nepotism doesn't come in, because inquest into death will be only for people who are in the ecosystem, which inquiry never happened. Nepotism was not an inquest into the death, because these people were not there when he died, so they couldn't have said why he died. They could have contributed to his mental state in one way or the other. So they could have at best been said to have also had an aggravating factor on why his depression happened in the first place. But they were nothing, even if you go by the nepotism angle, or the so-called investigation being done by the Mumbai police. It was never the Mumbai police case that this nepotism led to the death, because the nepotism can't by itself lead to the death. Death is something which is more proximate to what happened to that person around the time of the death, not what happened to him 1 year earlier or 2 years earlier, or there is nepotism. Now, if the Mumbai police wants to continue with that inquiry, which has nothing to do with Sushant Singh Rajput, maybe it will benefit some future youngsters who come from small cities. But I don't think they have a right to do this inquiry at all, because they are not investigating any cognizable offense, and police has no right to start. This is something more which probably the Movie Producers Association or probably the state government can act or bring in some law to ensure that in future people are not discriminated
But
by the industry.
they might have been investigating various other angles, for all you know and for all I know, which may not have come to light, because is the police bound to or morally bound to give us everything at the end of the day or at the end of every week कि हम इनको ये हमने बताया गया है, इनसे हमने investigation की है या नहीं की है? There might be some other angles they might have, the ones which you are focusing on, and it's just that the celebrities who went there were photographed. Fine. So say Bhansali went there, Mr. Aditya Chopra went there, whatever. But they might have been investigating other things also.
So you are wanting to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not giving anybody. I'm not giving.
No. I'm saying you are saying might be. So obviously, you are wanting to give them the benefit of the doubt.
No,
you are
I'm
also saying that it is not. I'm answering that.
Yeah.
You're right that they're not supposed to tell the media of what they are doing. You're absolutely right. A police investigation is not to be shared with the media. In fact, it should not be shared with the media.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, everything that was happening by the police was being shared with the media. Number one. Number two, this is not that kind of a case, where an investigation can happen without media glare. So, supposing if you are sitting in your office and thinking about what happened at Sushant Singh Rajput's home, then it's different. But if you want to know what happened in Sushant Singh Rajput's home, then you'll have to go to that home. You'll have to seal the CCTV. Those things can't be hidden. Those things you will come to know. Or nothing of that happened. And this case, is being followed by the media minute to minute. So if they had done anything of what I'm saying, it could not have been hidden. So supposing if that question, supposing a previous cook, let me just give an example,
Yeah.
or the trainer,
Yeah.
that would have all come in the media. There is no way you can hide this from the media. So it's not that we can even give them that benefit of the doubt, because that is not something which can be. This is not something which can be done by the police on its own, sitting in office. It has to go out and do something. If it has to go out, then people get involved, and if people get involved, then obviously all that comes out. So it's not as if we can give them that benefit of the doubt. It is not possible.
You also said that the complaint was made by the family sometime in the last week of February. Are you also saying that the police did not go to the building and see what was happening inside Sushant's house there at that time? They didn't follow it up at all?
To be honest, I can't comment on that because I have no information. Maybe if they have just turned around from the outside, I would not know. But not to our knowledge, no feedback was given to us. And so I would presume that they would not have done anything, but you may be right. They may have gone there and done some preliminary inquiry. But that's not the point. I'm assuming, let me assume that they have done that also. My point is something different. My point is that if there was a complaint, and there is a complaint, and the police has not denied it till date, then after the death, you have to definitely, make the 2 and 2 together, and not wait for 16 days to call Rhea for examination. That's the point that I'm
making. Did the father come and tell you he must have told you everything, the points which he has put out in his, all the allegations he has put out. Did he tell you, or are you aware that at any point before Rhea entered his life, was Sushant Singh disturbed about anything related to his career, related to other things which were strongly playing upon his mind?
No, nothing before Rhea came. There was nothing.
There was nothing. I mean, he was fine.
So when his mother died in 2002, he was quite that had shaken him completely. But thereafter, once he got into Bollywood, he was by till 2019. He was on top in every way, giving hits after hits. So really speaking, there was nothing much. If there had been one or two small incidents, this was not discussed, but may have been. I'm not very sure on that. But this is something, if you talk to any psychiatrist, this is something where a person will have it only, there is a susceptibility to have it. So he must be susceptible. So it was not showing till 19. It started showing after only Rhea came in his life. And how it started showing, what all were the aggravating factors, that probably will come only in the police investigation.
Any information to you from the family, or whether you have it, that was he undergoing any counseling before Rhea came into his life?
No. That we are sure. No counseling. Nothing.
Okay. So what's your next step, sir? The next step which you're going to take now?
Next step is actually, if you look at our criminal justice system, after the FIR is registered, really speaking, the complainant takes a backseat. So we are just, sort of following up of what is happening, and if possible, if we get some lead, we would like to give it to the police. But otherwise, it's entirely in the hands of the police. I mean, if you were to ask my wish list, the arrest should have happened by now. In fact, it should have happened on Saturday itself. But the Patna police felt that they would like to do their own homework before they take that big step. And they are maybe justified in doing so. And probably family would want that the arrest happens earlier and she would start singing in the custodial interrogation. But Patna police, if it feels that no, we do an hasty arrest like this, and if we go to court, we may not be able to, justify the arrest to the court, and she may get bail because of that. It's entirely their call, and we would not like to, sort of force them to do anything which they are not otherwise convinced to do.
Just my last question. Did Meetu or the other sister or the father tell you at any point when Sushant was in a relationship with Rhea, whether they liked her, whether she ever interacted with them, how was their bond with her, etc.?
No, no. She never interacted with anybody. She, in fact, cut off everybody. So that is there in the affair itself. She cut
Mhm.
off everybody from the family.
Okay, right
So
from the
that
word
is
go, are you
how,
saying? Almost
yes,
from the
right from
word
the
go.
beginning.
Yeah.
Almost from the beginning, yeah.
Hmm. Okay. But the father, in that case, maybe should have just walked into the building and, I mean, if she was taking away, if she was taking away the phone or something, I mean, Sushant could have just, probably dialed, or how was she so intimidating? That's just I'm trying to understand.
I also can't answer
I
that,
mean,
but
as per those charges.
my guess would be that Sushant was a very quite a big actor by then. So
Hmm.
probably in the pretext of helping him, she was keeping his mobile. And again, my guess, it is my guess, because when I look at my family and look at me and my wife, if the mother had been alive, probably she would have gone all the way to Bombay. She would not have left it. The father probably sometimes doesn't take that step because the boy is big. He's a 34-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And to think that a 34-year-old boy can't manage his own affairs is something which is, for a father, it is a little difficult to assume. He says, even if he doesn't want to talk to me, why should I interfere in his life? He's a big man now. So, making his money, and he's talking normal. Whenever they used to talk with the family or wherever, the talk doesn't look that there is anything abnormal in his talk. So, I guess you're right. I mean, if the mother had been there, probably she would have left everything and gone to him. But the father probably thought that no, he's big enough, he'll be able to handle his affairs. And once he realizes, it's always true that you realize how important are your parents when you become a parent yourself and your child, ignores you. So that is something, it's a process of evolution. I guess every family goes through it. And Sushant Singh had not probably realized the importance of his father, and the father thought that the son is big enough to look after himself.
Yeah. This question is just stemming from the fact, or was stemming from the fact. I thought that you must have also asked him this, because when you just cut off somebody, I mean, there are so many modes of
Yes, you're
communication.
right. No, so the sisters used to talk, the other sisters used to talk, but it's not a snapping of one snap. It's a question of slowly making him distant, and this happened over a period of time. And whenever he also used to mention that she's blackmailing me or whatever, she used to say that she will give the thing to the press. So nobody wanted to escalate things that she gives it to the press. If you escalate, and nobody in the family could even dream that he will commit suicide. I mean, that if that had come into their dream also, probably things would have been different. What they felt was that she's spending the money, taking over this thing. So he's in bad company. Basically, that was the worry. Worry was never that he will commit suicide. If that worry had been there, probably things would have been very different. And this can happen. This is only in hindsight that you can think that probably if I had known that he would have committed suicide, I would have definitely. Then of course one of the sisters would have permanently stayed with him, or they would have done a police case and got this woman out or whatever. But nobody could think that he'll commit suicide.
But in sister's words or the father's words, the father maybe not, because he hadn't met him recently. What was his state? What was Sushant's state of mind in the last 8 or 10 days? If they have put that together
So
and told
when
you.
he called that sister on the 8th of June, when Rhea left him, he was extremely disturbed, and this sister came and stayed with him for 4 days,
Yeah.
and he could counsel him. And again, when you talk to somebody, obviously, if he's giving a brave front, a brave face, then probably after 4 days, sister realized that he's getting normal or whatever, he's looking better. But when you are on medication and the medication is not going properly, because she's the one who knew what all medication was being given to him. So how it worked inside the mind, one doesn't know. Now that this fellow who was living with him, Buddha, the fellow who's that Pithania who's given this mail, he was there at the house when he committed suicide. Now, if he has changed over and gone to Ria's side, I really don't know. I mean, a lot of theories are going around that he was murdered. We don't have any information so far that he was murdered. But if the police had done a good job, or if the Patna police does a good job even now, probably some light can come on that, and we can't say for sure, so we don't want to jump into that kind of a conclusion straight away. But all things are possible in this death.
My final question: is the father now going to shift to
This
Bombay?
is your third time your final question.
I'm sorry. Is the father going to shift to Mumbai, the larger family here, to pursue the case, or are they going to?
No. Why should he pursue the case? The case will be fought in Patna. So where is the question of shifting to Mumbai?
The case will be fought in Patna.
Yes, absolutely. We are quite confident that Supreme Court will not interfere. Supreme Court will not look at the convenience of the accused and inconvenience the complainant, a victim, a father, 74-year-old father, and ask the father to run to Mumbai and fight his case. So I don't think that is happening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.